What's happening, peeps? It's your boy, The Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another Mythical Monday video. Now, as always, people, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment if you like, and I'll happily get back to you. Now, let's get straight into it for this week, man. A great Mythical Monday matchup I've got for you guys. Let's head over to the light heavyweight division or the heavyweight division. I'll let you guys decide. But this is a fascinating matchup, man. Rocky Marciano, the Brockton Bomber, 49-0. against Roy Jones Jr. Who would have won this fight if these two guys were to meet in their primes, man? And it's a fascinating matchup. Great contrast to styles. Rocky Marciano, what a story. Do you know what I mean? 49-0, retired undefeated. Do you know what I mean? He had everything going for him. A puncher. He was a great heavyweight. He beat the likes of Joe Louis, albeit it wasn't in his prime, but he was relentless, man. This guy had so much power. Ranked on the Rings list, I believe, as the 14th, in the top 20, definitely, of the greatest punchers of all time, Rocky Marciano. You know, it ended tragically. Do you know what I mean? Having a plane crash, took his life. Do you know, he was barely, he wasn't even that old at all, man. Lost his life very early. But, you know, the story of Rocky Marciano is one that is told, and it will be told for generations, man. This guy, we all speak about Floyd, you know, breaking that 49-0. It was Rocky Marciano that got there, do you know what I mean? Retired undefeated. And then Floyd's obviously done it, you know, a few generations later. But back in the day, man, Rocky Marciano, like I said, he was a ferocious puncher, relentless. Matching him up with Roy Jones, though, I mean, he would have been probably an inch or so shorter than Roy, because back then the heavyweights were nowhere near as big as the heavyweights they are today. So Rocky Marciano, although he was a heavyweight back then, he probably would have fitted more within the light heavyweight scene if he was boxing today. So how would he match up against somebody like Roy Jones, who obviously fluctuated between the weights, went all the way up to heavyweight, was never a big heavyweight. His best years was at light heavyweight for sure. So yeah, it would make sense for this fight to take place between that sort of weight categories, between light heavyweight and heavyweight, these two guys. Jones probably the slightly taller man, and of course we all know what Roy Jones and his athletic abilities are. Like I said, I've said this before on this channel, I'll say it again. Roy Jones Jr., when he was in his athletic prime, it was as close to perfection as I've seen. That is how good Roy Jones Jr. was, people, man. It was just unbelievable what the guy would do in the ring, and it wasn't recommended for, you know, a start-up boxer to go in the gym and try and mimic him. Roy was just, you know, he had the blend of athleticism. He was just had so much speed that obviously brought power as well. He would do things that were insane. Do you know what I mean? Put his hands behind his back and knock a guy out. Play basketball the same day and then go and have a fight and win it pretty easily. This guy had done so many things, man. He will always go down for me as one of the best fighters I've ever seen, ever. I've seen in my best fighters I've ever seen. One of them, Roy Jones, in his prime. Of course, he went on for too long. His prime actually probably ended quicker than most would have thought. Do you know what I mean? Because after he moved up to heavyweight, he went back down to light heavyweight, and we saw what happened there, man. He got chin checked a good few times, Roy Jones Jr. And that is the issue here. If he was to go in against somebody like Rocky Marciano, who was a ferocious puncher, and you kind of fear for Roy Jones Jr.'s chin if he's in there with somebody like Rocky Marciano. But would Rocky Marciano have been able to get to Roy when Roy was in his prime? You know, it's a difficult one, man. Maybe it depends on the ring size. It could depend on little things like that. Do you know what I mean? If Rocky Marciano was able to trap Roy, you know, he's never lost before, had 43 knockouts of his 49 wins. If he clipped Roy, Roy would have been down. It would have been no hesitation about it to say that Roy would have been down and he wouldn't get up. But would he have been able to clip Roy when Roy was doing them superhuman things in the ring? It's a great fight, a fascinating fight this would have been. Roy, like I said, when he moved back down to light heavyweight after being a heavyweight, he got clipped by so many people, man. Antonio Tarver, Glenn Johnson, even the likes of Enzo Maccarinelli later on in his days, man. It was quite worrying seeing Roy Jones get knocked out as many times as he did. But, you know, in his prime, he was just unbelievable, Roy Jones Jr. And I don't think we should forget that. Rocky Marciano, like I said, he retired undefeated. So he'd never been beaten in the ring. Great fight this would have been, man. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Ferocious puncher of Rocky Marciano against somebody like Roy Jones Jr. With speed, athleticism, timing, everything. who would have won this fight and why, guys? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next Mythical Monday video.